welcome to part 5 of our toddler painting tutorial of beautiful baby Liam. So great to be back with you. Today we're going to get right into it, and we're going to be starting back on the mottling. I'm hoping to finish all the mottling today and get that big chunk of it done. So let's just get straight into it. I'm very excited. So just with your red, I want you to put in 2 drops of red into your palette, and then I want you to put in 4 drops of the thinning medium. Now if you're working with magical realism, you're up to step 11 of our booklet. So just give that a little mix there. Now what we want to do is add in a smidge of blue. Now when I'm talking a smidge, I'm talking about an absolute, it's not even a wipe, it's hardly even a dot. What this color is going to do is just richen up that red just a little bit. But if we put even more than a little bit, it will turn purple. So you've got to be so careful. You're literally using nothing, absolutely nothing. Okay, so if you can see what I've done there, that is my nothing, that little blue dot right there. It's hardly anything. So let's see how this mixes in. Okay, that has come up really good. Okay, I've been really nervous about this because lately when I'm making this color, it quite often turns out purple, and we don't want purple. So my advice to you, if you're even if you're going by the tutorial words, just please make sure mix your red first with your thinning, and then just put that, it's like a micro dot, it's so tiny. So once that is mixed, we need to add our water, fill up that palette space with water. Okay, that is good. Now I'm just going to check this isn't too light. That is my biggest fear. No, that's okay, that's good. Okay, so you should still have, some mottling sponges ready to go. If not, create a new mottling sponge, and then you can use the new one. Oops. Okay, so I'm still going to do a test. Like, as you probably know me really well now, I don't just like to start painting straight on my beautiful baby. I don't ever think anyone is that good enough, really. Sometimes it can just go wrong. So I think as an insurance to always do a test limb first, or even on a paper towel or something. So just paint my paint mix onto the mottling sponge. I also need to get a blender. So just pouncing on, and that's perfect for me. I don't know how well you can see it there, but it's perfect for me. So I'll put my test lamp just over there, and now I'm going to paint this blood red mottle over the whole entire kit of Liam. So there is the first part. Now you can get your blender and you can lightly just blend over the top. That will remove any excess fluid that you don't want there. But you don't exactly have to do that either. I'm really looking and really liking the way this mottle is turning out. So sometimes if you blend it, you lose the mottle. It sort of takes away that speckly dot look that we really sort of want to achieve. So I want to keep that dot look there, so I am going to not blend it. For me, it doesn't need to be done. You can just see all those dots there. They're really perfect, and they're nice and translucent. It's turned out really nice. So I want to make sure I capture that. Really important, if you don't already know, I mean, I've probably said this before, but it's always good to have that reminder, is to have really great natural light heading your way. I've got the window over there and it is directly lighting up the kit in front of me. I've also got a light surrounding my camera, which is like a daylight as well. Also make sure that if you can't get into an area because of your fat modeling sponge, that you just go in there and lightly tap it with your brush and then try to get in there to blend it a bit better, or use your blending brush. It's just really important that you don't miss those spaces that the modeling sponge cannot necessarily reach, because we're still wanting the color, we're still wanting that part of the whole process. It's just we can't necessarily mottle behind there. So keep going. What I'll do is I'll do the entire head with you guys, and then for the limbs we'll speed that up, because you don't need to completely sit with me for the whole period to do that. It might bore you silly, even though I know lots of people like to sit with me and have a chat, and that's okay too. But you know, we want to get a lot done today, and I don't want to put up a toddler tutorial going for 3 hours of Annette talking. Oh my goodness, that would be a little bit chaotic. Okay, so make sure that you keep mixing that mixture as you go, because sometimes it settles, and when it settles you will lose your colour. You won't get the colour. So let's go into the face here. When you're pouncing with your mottling sponge, you're only pouncing really lightly. You'll find that if you were to start pouncing heavy, that it definitely won't mottle. It will be too heavy-handed, and it'll just be the colour like we've spoken about before. So make sure that you're just really light with your dabs. That can be really important, and it will definitely get out that mottling tone that we're looking for. Okay, so it's going really, really well. So now I'm just going to get my brush and go into those places that aren't mottling properly. Well, can't mottle because of the brush. So in the ears there is important. Get that colour in there. Blend it. And let's have a look at any areas around the face there. So I'm just going to go just under the mouth, just under and around the nose, and just on the inner areas of the eyes. And I'm going to still be really, really light with my blending brush, because there is other mottle around there that I don't want to harm. Okay, that is really nice. It's looking good. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mottle the limbs. Just exactly how I did the face, I'm going to go over the whole entire limbs, and we're going to speed that up for you. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. You may have noticed I haven't done the legs yet, but my mixture is running out. But I'm really finding with the way I just did that I'm really not seeing enough mottle that I would like. So I'm going to continue and just quickly use up the rest of my mixture, and then I'm going to do it again. So be right back. Okay, so that means we're doing a double red mottle. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to have a look at the back of that. There was some colour. There is a light pinky colour. But I really do like to have my mottling showing a little bit. I know this is a toddler baby, so he doesn't need as much as, say, a newborn baby. But I like that little red mottle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 3 drops of the red. I'm going to use 5 drops of the thinning. Mix it. And then add that smidge of blue. Still want the smidge. We don't want purple, okay? Whoops. That's got a smidge already on the edge. We don't want that. Okay. So remember, this time I used 3 red. And there's my little smidge just at the top there. So mix that together. That's perfectly fine. That's great. So what I'm going to actually also do is, because he's a bigger kit, I'm going to make the same thing in the little palette right beside it. So 1, 2, 3. And therefore I'll have plenty of mixture. It'll be the right consistency and colour. And we can just go for it. So see, one of the best things about viewing this is you can see that, you know, it doesn't always work out, you know, first time. I mean, I may have made a lot of babies, but that doesn't mean every time it works out great. I mean, you may have, it could be even in the humidity that it's not working properly. Things aren't working properly for you. So you have to take a lot of things into consideration. And always watch what you're doing, and don't go ahead until you feel really happy with it. Okay, so both of those are mixed and are both a nice red that I like. And I'm getting a call, so I'm going to put you on hold. Sorry, when customers call, I have to go. So like I said, I've got the 2 mixtures there, so now I'm going to add my water. As usual, just fill up the little well. And mix those both around. Do a little test on the paper. That looks good, but of course we need to test them first. Best to do that. Make sure that all the moisture is pretty much out of the mottling sponge I last used. And yeah, that's a little bit more to my liking. So I'm going to go and completely cover Liam with these solutions, just like I did before. I'm not going to record that because you pretty much just watched me do it. You don't need to have heaps of time for me to do that type of thing. So as soon as I've done that, I'll show you what the kit looks like, and then we'll go on to the next step, which will be step number 12. So I'm happy with how my baby Liam is looking. The mottling is really, really fine, which is what I pretty much want. I just want to be able to see that there's something there, and with the naked eye, I can see that. The main reason why I say that is, if you remember back on the pictures I showed of Amani, you really couldn't see anything on his skin too much, just in particular sections. So I'm more so looking for the colour effect that those colours bring. Okay, blah, blah, blah. So the next step we're doing is we're using the paint mix that we just made, which is gone, and we're going to sort of be touching up those ears, nostrils and mouth. So I'm just checking if I need to see or do anything there. I'm going to get another brush. Okay, so again, we're going to go with the 3 drops of red. I need to fill up my red or get a new one. The smidge, oh actually, sorry, I'm sorry, Nelly made a mistake. The 5 thinning. mix that. And then add the smidge of blue. Smidge, smidge, smidge. No! That is not quite the smidge I wanted. That's okay. These things happen, and they're pat on the back. The main thing I love is when these things happen, is that you can see that obviously there's sort of no really such perfection. Mistakes happen, and you just go with the flow and have a laugh. Also, another great thing about the magical realism paints is they really go a long way, so you don't have to fear the fact that you lost a few drops. I should remind my heat setters, I apologise for not doing it earlier, but you're pretty smart. I'm pretty sure that you would have known. You would have been using, or you should be using, Genesis Red and then the Thilo Blue 02. Exactly the same as what I'm doing here. There needs no different. I know that you really can't work in droplets when you're working with the Genesis, but you can pretty much get a feel to how much I'm using. I'd say 3 drops of red would be about half a pea size of Genesis Red, and then the smidge would be exactly the same, still a smidge. Annette, do a smidge. Okay, I got a smidge. It's all right. So I'll mix that up. And we get a nice maroon again. Good, good. And add some water to that mixture. Just checking that that's what I wanted. Yep, beautiful. And you'll notice, I know I probably say it a lot, but I still refer to my instructions. I've got too much happening in my life to lock the instructions completely in my mind. And I'm not as young as I once was. 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, those instructions would have been locked in my head. But now I've gone to the fact that I don't really have to keep that knowledge on board. I can just look at the book, just refer to it anytime I want. So don't think you're crazy if you need to look at the book and you've been looking at it for years. It's nice just to get that sort of like that confirmation that what you're doing is what you've got to be doing, so to speak. And some people don't like to go by instructions too. You might just feel like go free ahead, do what color models you like. That's okay too. So there's no right way there. Okay, so the mixture that I mixed there, now what we're going to do, the first step I'm going to do is put in the ears. So all of those areas of the ears which I've already been darkening. So you can see where I've done just there. And then with your blending brush, I can use the one I used before, but I think I might go for a small. Actually, I'm going to get one out of my same down here. It's just, I like the ones down here. They're a little bit newer. Okay, so just blend that in. Make sure there is no leftover pooling. So you can see that compared to that is a little bit lighter, right? Now, that probably looked a little bit more red in the video when I saw it just then, but it really isn't. It's not a red look at all. I mean, real red. It's perfect blood red. So in there again, just in those areas, and blend. Nice. Okay, I'm going to get a smaller brush. Sometimes my brushes go missing, but that's okay. I'm not phased. I'm just going to use this little one, and what I'm going to do is go inside those nostrils, just sort of wave it around in there. Don't be too temperamental and perfect. I mean, obviously we don't want it getting on the outside of those nostrils, just keeping it all in contained. And then what I do is use a controlled blender. That means I pinch the end of my blending brush so I can control where it goes. I just want it to go inside that nostril, and I just gently blend it. What it is actually removing a little bit of excess paint that's in there, a little bit of excess fluid. Now with the ears and the nose, of course, at this stage, you can do it over a few times if you like. I'm choosing to do it a few times to richen up that colour. So I kind of suggest to do it that way. It saves having to come back and do that again. One thing I find, if it isn't done enough, it'll sort of, the whole kit will look translucent and lifeless. But if it's done enough, that area, say in the nostrils there or in the ears, will look a bit more solid. It'll look like it's got more body to it, that it's not flimsy. That's the kind of sort of look I get feel-wise. I'm going to go inside the nostrils again. Yeah, I'm going to do it. It's a little bit annoying at the moment because one of these nostrils looks nice and solid and the other one looks a little bit translucent and flimsy. So that's sort of why I'm going back and doing it a few times. That's my good nostril. It's a little bit better. So there we go. Looking good, hey? So then we're also going to do in the mouth. Of course, Liam has a nice open mouth. I just love painting inside the mouth. Now I want to pop up a picture on screen of Amani with a nice wide open mouth, big grin, and you can see there's darkening above the tongue, below the tongue. The tongue itself looks nice and red, and then the tip of the tongue has a white look to it from the glow, so to speak, of, you know, the light. So that's just a little bit of an example for you, giving you an example of what it would look like, how there's different tones of red, even to black almost inside the mouth, and then the white on the tip of the tongue, which is really great. So I've done inside the mouth there, so then just do a very gentle pounce. I'm going to do it a few times. Now, again, you can choose where you do in the mouth. You can just do the tongue, you can do the roof of the mouth, or you might not even have an open mouth. I think I've heard of a few people actually getting the Liams to go along with me, so that's why I sort of talk like that. Now, in the bottom of Liam's mouth, there is teeth. Don't worry about them too much. We're going to go over them with some white later, and it'll be perfect, okay? So this is a really great time now with this solution to actually paint your lips. It's going to be our first lip color, and it's going to just give that base tone and outline for how we want the lips to work. So just nicely and gently, softly, don't go too crazy, paint the lips in. Normally there's a line you can follow, like a bit of a guide. So do that. Just try to follow that line. Now you won't be able to see very much here. You can just see that pinking up. So because it's only very fine, I'm going to do that a couple of times. Okay, now I'm going to let that dry for a moment. And when I let it dry, I'm going to actually give all the fingernails a nail polish. And yes, I'm going to use this blood red colour. If you're using heat set paint, what I want you to do is go over each nail and pounce with your cosmetic wedge. I'm pretty much going to do the same thing, I think. It's just that this is a very fine colour and it won't be very visual. So just over each nail. This is like literally the first base of the nail. I'm not even going to, actually, I'll just pound the most lightest pound. Pounds, pounds, pounds. Just like it's just touching. Get the other hand. That's really, really giving a perfect starter. Loving it. Pounce, 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 pounce. Now, like I said, you'll hardly know it's there. It'll just be a little bit of a change in colour. Just a little. Oh my god, this kit has Amani's toenails. How weird is that, hey? And the last one. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, and what I want you to do, is now do your touch-ups from that final process. So if you think the ear needs a little bit more, do it again. Nostrils, do it again. Mouth, do it again. Nails, do it again, until you're looking at it and you're thinking, that is great. So the actual lips, we just want to see a bit of a gradient in the color between the chin and the lips. Oh, that's not really a great finger to use, is it? Sorry. A little bit of a gradient between the chin area and the lips. So just a touch, it's just starting to pinken up. Same with the fingernails and the toenails. You just want to look at that hand and just see that there's a slight color difference in the nails. If you need to keep working with the nostril, etc., 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 you know what I mean, go do it. Okay, so you can just see the touch on his lips there nicely. The inside of his mouth is darkened, nostrils darkened. There's just the darkening around the ears there. And then I don't know how well you'll notice, but just on the fingernails, they're just a smidge different coloured than the rest of the hand. Okay, so we're going to go on to the next mottling stage now, which is green. Yes, it is green. Don't freak out, okay? Now, again, I don't want a thick mottle. I just want it to be really nice. So I'm going to start by mixing my colour. So this is going to be like a limey sort of colour. So I'm going to go with 3 drops of the yellow. Actually 4 drops. 1 like half drop. A half of phthalo blue. Looking good. Where's my blue? This one is what I want. Oh, actually, I might use this one. No, I don't like it. This one. So mix that together and you will get a nice lime green. Yay! Again, before I keep going, I need to make a double mixture because of this big baby is just a troublemaker. So 1, 2, 3, 4 yellow, half a drop of the blue, and mix together. Perfect. Loving, 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 loving this. Okay, so then we need the thinning. So I'm going to use 5 drops of thinning in each one. Beautiful. And then fill those wells with the water. Mix those together. They look great. So if you wanted to know generally what kind of colour that looks to the naked eye, it pretty much looks like Kermit the Frog green, that kind of green. So all good. And now we're going to do the mottling. So of course we're going to get our test limb, get a little mottling sponge, fluff off that. Okay, that is quite green. Too green, I'm afraid. Bow bow. But that's okay. What we'll just do here is we'll get our mixture, suck it up. Give one of these. Suck it up and go halvesies. So now we're going to have 4 wells. So this is the best way when something happens like this. You just make your mixture wider, because what we're going to do is thin it down with the water, which will then make the colour less obnoxious. Okay, I'm going to wipe that off there quickly, like it hadn't dried yet in this heat. Mix that again. I mix all 4 because then they're all going to be consistently the same. Get the green off my mottling sponge from before. Okay, that is better. It is better, but I've got to be very careful. This is where you've got to be very careful, because if it's too green, it can then begin to make your beautiful work so far look muddy, and that's what we don't want. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a, see, it's really green. No. Surprisingly, I mean, you know, you can go one way and then the next way. And what I'm saying is, when I was making my red, it was really hard to bring that color up to make it bright. It was really playing with me. Now this one, I haven't done that much out of character. We're just going to fill the whole lot. Why not? How does that sound, guys? Actually, I'm going to put some in the middle there. I'm just making like a mess, but that's all right. We've got to get it right. Isn't that right, guys? Get in there. Mix away. So you'll notice I'm still sort of mixing them all together, so they're all still going to consistently be the same. I can put them all into the middle, just so everyone knows that they are all going to be the same. And this is going to be a big paint lot. That's okay. Okay, let's test this little beauty. So just wipe off the excess from before, pounce out my sponge. Yeah, that's much better. So what I can see there, I should have showed you before, I apologize, is I can just see a hint of green in that mottling. Before I could really see the green. I could definitely see it, and I thought if that dried on the spot like that, you would definitely see the green. So that's not what I wanted. So for those of you who are wondering, they're thinking, looking at you've just made it, I don't know what the heck you're doing. Just keep using your test slim. That's the best advice I can give. As long as you're using your Teslim, you'll get to see. And what we're trying to do is get a nice translucent lime color. It can be a darker green. It doesn't really matter about what kind of green it is. We just want the nice translucent color. So this is just an effect that it's just part of our skin colors. Okay, for those of you who are using Genesis, you can do the same sort of thing I did. You can put a swipe of yellow, probably a swipe and a half. Actually, what I mean by a swipe is a whole brush side covered in yellow and then the other side half, and then with the blue do probably just about a quarter of that. Mix it together and then add the odorless, and you should be pretty fine with the green. If you don't like the fact of mixing green, you could always use the Phthalo Green 06, I believe, and that would be pretty good as well. So we can go ahead and pounce over Liam now. So I'm going to do the first pounce so you can actually see. Have your blending brush on hand for if it gets a little bit too sticky and you don't like it. Okay. Yep, that's fine. I'm fine with it. You won't be able to see it that well, but it is just barely there. And I'm going to do a light pounce over this. I do want it to be blended. I don't want any of it left there, so to speak. So I'm going to go and do the whole entire kit with the green. You don't need to watch me because you watched me do the red. And once we do the green, I'll show you how we're going. And then we're so going well. We're going really, really well. I'm so excited. Okay, so how did you go? I'm feeling quite good. Like I always say, I'm happy with all the tones, colouring. You can see the difference now, especially between the actual painted section and the unpainted bottom there. There's a big difference between the looks, so that's really good. That's all I'm wanting to do and I'm happy with. So now we're going to go to the last part of this video, which is the purple mottle. That's the last mottle we'll be doing. Now I did want to go a little bit further, but honestly I have to give this kit time to properly cure, something that many people just don't do, especially with air dry paints. You've got to let it cure. Even though it's dry, it hasn't necessarily had the time to properly cure. So that's where we're headed now, just to one last mottle layer. So the last mottle layer is the purple mottle, like I said. So that's just using the purple. If you're working with Genesis paints, I just suggest using eyelid purple. That's the best purple for this particular mottling layer, and you'll just do like one swipe of the purple and then the rest with odorless, and then you'll just go ahead and mottle the whole lot. Now I'm going to do the same now, what I've done the whole time. So I'm going to mix it up and then I'm going to sort of let you all go to mottle, and then we'll finish up. So this one is using 2 drops of the purple, 4 drops of the thinning. I need to put some of my things away. My table's getting a little bit overwhelming. 1, 2, 3, 4. Give that a mix. So I'll just get a brush down here, mix that. It is really, really hot. It's 12:30 now. I've been going since this morning with this video, just to let you know. I stopped for lunch because I wanted to give that last layer, the last green layer, a little bit of time to settle. And now I'll do this one, but it's really, really hot in here now. Something that I just won't be able to cope with for very long. So I thought I'll just move on, get it done, and then we can get on to the editing process so you can do your whole thing. Now this looks like it's going to be way too dark. So I'm just going to put some on there. Oh, yes, too dark. Net. Now, one reason, some people might sort of think, well, Annette's got it on her instructions there, but then when she does it, it's too dark. Now, the reason behind that is it may be that when I actually created the tutorial, I may have been using a different palette at that time. So yeah, a palette can make a big difference, palette size obviously. So that's what I believe would have happened. I've just got a message there through. It's all right, sorry. Messages popping through all the time. Okay, so let's see how that goes. That should be better. But that is why they're slightly different. That's why no matter what I say, what the book says, what anyone says, you should always, always, always do a test. Have a test limb. Have something beside you that you can test it on before you put it to your expensive kit. See, that's still a little bit too dark. Just to show you there, it's just a bit too dark. It's not bad, it's not terrible, but for what I'm wanting, like I said, I don't want a full-on mottle here. I want something nice and easy going. Look at this, look how far it goes. But yeah, I want like a soft touch. And you'll notice, especially when you take a look at pictures of Liam afterwards, that you really can't notice a lot of mottling. I've tried to really minimalize it. I do a lot of the just putting that color over the skin and pouncing it all out, because that's not my, when I look at Amani and I don't see that much mottling, that's kind of the look I want to go. I know that some babies do have a great deal of mottling, and that's fine. But for this baby, for what I'm working with, I don't want it to have a huge amount. So I'll put this here. Okay, that is much better. It's just like a light touch there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mottle the head while you guys are with me, so we can see how it turns out. Yep, that's really good. That's fine. Okay, I have to blend it there, but you can see that the colour is there. So I'm going to use a blending brush again, just to, well, not again, but just to pounce it out lightly. Okay, and my suggestion is now I'm going to stop the recording again. We're both going to mottle, and then I'll show you how it all turned out. Okay, how are you going? Here is my beautiful Liam. You might just see a touch of mottling in that skin there. It's looking really good. I keep saying that. You're probably thinking, yeah, Annette, I know. So it looks really good. Sorry, very hot. So that is like the last paint step we're going to do today. The next stage we're going to go on to is darkening the mouth a bit more, darkening the lips and the nostrils again. Yes, we have to do that again just to like reinforce what we've already done. So we're doing the lips in that stage. We're going to see if we need a second crease on all the creases. Some of them might need a little bit of touching up. And we're also going to do the blushing. So blushing's on the feet, hands and the face, the cheeks and everything. We're going to go the nail beds and the mouth and the lips with the red again, just like I just basically said. And then a finishing layer of caramel and nail tips. That will be the next class. And after that, that will be all the paint we need to do. We would just need to seal it and start the hair. Exciting, right? I know it's very, very exciting. Sorry guys that I'm sort of breathing deeply. I sort of ran downstairs to get something, and it is just so hot in here that I'm sort of like just dying to get out. But before I move on and say goodbye to you, say goodbye to part 5, I wanted to do one more thing. So I'll just clean up as I go. Shall I just move all these things out of the way? La 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 la. Just move some things. Anyway, I'm going to put the eyes in. Yes, I'm getting to the stage where I feel that baby Liam has a lot to offer. He has a lot of colouring. Again, he has so much more colouring than I can even see on the video. There is so much detail in there that I'm really, really happy about. But I'm getting a little bit tired of just looking at his little blank expression with no eyes. So I thought, it's time. It's time. So I'm going to put the eyes in, show you what to do for those who don't know how to do it, and then I'll take some pictures after of what he looks like now and finish off this video with those pictures. So they'll be coming in 1 second. Okay, so most of you already know how to do eyes, but for those of you who don't, I'm just going to show you how I do it best. A lot of people think that you can put them through the front. I really, really highly disagree. Don't do it. Eventually, if not the first time, if not the second time, third, blah 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 blah, eventually you will split the actual, where's my thing? Sorry, I've just lost my box. But anyway, you'll actually split the eye socket, and that's what we don't want happening, especially like with this baby Liam, who has quite large 24mm eyes. I'll just do this because I got to. Hi everyone. So I'm going to get you guys nice and close here, closer than you were before. And I'm going to put you down a little bit so you can see more of what's going on here. Just got a little pillow so I can put baby Liam's head there. There's his eyes, there's his head. Hang on, bring him closer. Trying to get you guys the best view. Hopefully you can see okay there. Now I might actually turn the camera around. Should I do that? No, I better not. Just stick with what I know. Okay, so we have a scalpel. Just your typical scalpel. Aussie Reborn Supplies sells them. You should be able to get them at your local hardware. Easy going. Take it out. Very sharp, so be really, really careful. Now in the back of the head there, let me see if I can bring it up. Can't see it that well, but you should see the eye socket, like right there. You'll see the round circle right in the middle there. So on that socket is round, okay? I want to get my scalpel and cut around one edge, one bottom edge in a half moon. So I don't know if I do have a pen here, and I do have paper. So imagine this is the socket that you see. Okay, round circle. All this here is the socket itself, the edges. But this is that flat part we see on the back. What I want you to do is with your scalpel, I want you to cut a half moon. So I'm going to make this look really messy, but so you can see. I want you to cut that half moon. Then what we're going to do is we're going to lift that flap and just slot our eyes in. So I know you won't really be able to see me do this, but I'll try to show as best as I can afterwards. So I'm now cutting the half moon. You got to be really careful, guys, because overdoing it can be too much, and if you don't do it right, it can cut through. Okay, that should be it. So let me see if I can show you. That is my half cut. See there? It's half, it's a flap open now. So I'll do that to my other side as well. It's not being very happy with me at the moment. It's taking its time, but I'm also not trying to rush it either. Okay, both of those are open, and now you slot the eyes in from the back. You need to put them just under that flap and push into place. For that, you need a bit of pushing on your own body. I've got it in place. And there he's got an eye. And the other one, just a bit of push against my body. Almost in. Oh, he's been a bit of a naughty baby, this one. I tell you what, I am dripping. Okay, so there we go. Now it would just be for me to straighten them up, which is pretty easy. You just sort of direct it towards the light and everything, and that's a story for later. But here we go. Here is baby Liam, and he has eyes now. And you should be able to see. I'm going to actually turn the camera around, so hang on a moment. Liam is looking really, really good. I'm really happy with everything. Hopefully you can see the different colours over his face and limbs. I think he's looking really, really nice. And now that he's got his eyes in, he's a whole new baby. So thank you for watching. Mind the sweat. I am really hot. Oh, I can see the back of my hair. It's all wet. Ah, yuck. I think it's time for me to go have a shower, put the air conditioning on, maybe a bit of Bridget Jones, I think. Definite bit of Bridget Jones, yes. And sit down with Pepsi Max and relax for the afternoon. I think that's it for me in video number 5. So thanks everyone for your patience. Thank you for watching me today. Thank you for enjoying watching baby Liam come to life. It's so cool, isn't it? I've given him brown eyes, by the way, too, because my grandson Amani, he hasn't quite got brown eyes, but they are turning brown. I know that for certain. So anyway, have a great week, month, however long it takes me to get to the next video, and happy reborning, guys. Bye.